So most of what we'll be doing is working on people where we don't know what their voting performance is, we don't know, or Democrats, and that could be anything from a hardcore Democrat to what I call lazy. That's someone that if I can get them to the polls, they'll vote. It's just I practically have to beg them and put flowers and palms in front of them to get them to come down to the polls. And that's what we're going to be talking about doing, because remember how many bites does it take to eat an elephant? You eat an elephant one, or you can only eat an elephant one bite at a time, just like anything else. Well, I only have one bite of this elephant that I can eat, and that is here in Gwinnett County. That's all we can do. We can't go to Wisconsin. If you can, more power to you. I know some folks are going to ask. We can't go up to Virginia. We are here now, and in Gwinnett County, and I'm not in Colquitt County. I'm not in Clark County. I'm not in Oglethorpe County or Muskogee County. We're in Gwinnett County. Here in Gwinnett County, where in 08, Obama got 47% of the vote. And most of that vote was gained in two areas. This area along the 85, 316 corridor, is mostly the 5th district of the state senate. And what is the school board district number? Is it District 1? It's District 5 for the school board as well. Most of that was in this area, or in South Gwinnett along what I would call the Highway 78 corridor. And so to be honest, just to get back where we were in an era of incredibly partisan voting, that's where we're going to be focused. And that's what I'm just sort of jumping into this in the middle, but I want folks to understand that what we're asking you to do is to, if you're signing up today, if you're here, we're going to have candidates talking to you about their races and making a pitch for you to go and volunteer directly for them. But if you don't know exactly where you fit in, we need you to be canvassing, phone banking, and doing voter registration. The Gwinnett Democratic Party has their county headquarters in our district along the 85 corridor at basically Pinnacle and by the Greyhound station, which is where Pinnacle, Beaver Ruin, and Brook Hollow Parkway all come together. Over near the unemployment office and the little Greyhound bus station. We'll be doing phone banking there. Canvassing will be in these precincts, and I know if someone lives, way out here, Tequila 133, or way up here in Buford, it's like, but, I do understand and I sympathize, and I have lived in red precincts before. What I would say is that we've got to focus on the 85 corridor and the 78 corridor, because that's going to be the key to turning Gwinnett blue and state we're going to with fewer people. On who you ask, more than likely be number 1 or number 2 county in terms of voter turnout. We can turn to that. We at least get Obama back to where we were last year. We at least make sure that our incumbents get reelected. We have a shot. Folks like Scott Drake, folks like Renita Hamilton. I don't see her yet, but she's about to raise her hand. She was coming down here, and others. Actually picking up seats in Gwinnett County and showing the state, this is how you do it. This is how you take back Georgia. And if we get lucky, and other folks in other counties, because I can't be responsible, this is not a Dakota County Synonymous meeting. I'll be responsible for myself. And we're only responsible for us, our county, and our 160 some odd precincts. If we can do it, and other people are doing the same thing, we will really surprise folks on election night. I just want you to understand that, because Georgia should have been a battleground last time. They didn't figure out about it until too late. They pulled out and then came back in when they went, oh wow, it is close. Should be this time around, but for the fact that, to be honest, and this goes back to most of what I'm focusing on, what I'm asking you to focus on, when you're signing up, people are going to be calling, so to do that canvassing, that phone banking, that voter registration, is knocking on the doors of those new voters, undecided voters, new voters, and the various kinds of Democrats that we got, from the lazy Democrats to the hardcore Democrats. And I'm hoping that you're going to be on board for that. And I'm open to answering questions about that and going through all that, but I just wanted you to know exactly what it is, because I do know, especially in Georgia, it's an incredibly polarized election. It just is. If you saw how the election went down in 2010 here, it's an incredibly polarized election. Our job is not to go out and find those swing voters. That is the candidate's job. Our job is to help make sure that the base turns out. And yes, when you are canvassing, you're going to knock on a door. When you're phone banking, you're going to get a telephone call. They're going to bless you out because they were a Republican. If what you want is a 100% list where all you get to talk to are the converted in the choir, nobody is going to be able to give you that. First of all, because I just told you, some of those people that we think are new voters and undecided voters may have moved here from Pennsylvania and been hardcore Republican voters, but we just don't know because we don't have any voting years down. And because this is still an inexact science as far as getting people's correct phone numbers and knowing what's going on. And we don't know why that person cast a Democratic ballot in 04 or in 08. All we know is that they cast a Democratic ballot in that primary. So what they call themselves and how upset they get, or who answers the phone, or whether somebody moved and that phone number is on the other side. You know, these numbers are fairly accurate, but it's not 100%. If you want 100%, they don't make that in politics. You know, if it was 100%, they just do a poll, declare someone victor, and they wouldn't even bother with the election. They'd save a couple $1 billion. You know, I mean, it just doesn't work like that. But with that, I did want to take, and I'm going to go back. Let's see if I can put that in the
There's some people that vote, especially Republicans who vote in Democratic primary, the person they think is less likely to get it, 5% picks up.
There are some people that vote Republican primaries who do the exact same thing.
Oh, yeah, I've heard
And
that.
it's called strategic voting.
Yeah, I heard that. If they do it to us, why should we?
Well, that's always been going. I'm just waiting for this to load up. And then we're going to ask the first candidate to talk. I'm going to try to put that candidate's map up if I can get it. Or if Thomas can get it. Well, I was trying to call it school district. Get it to load. There it is. Okay. So what I want you to know is that essentially the school board districts, these are the school board districts, okay? And then this area along here, again, is the 85 corridor. That is school board district 5. And then we also have a candidate running in, this is school board district 2, which is in the Mary K. Murphy area, which does have, and which does have Democratic precincts here, which is along 124, coming into Lawrenceville, and then basically hugging, going around Berkeley Lake, hugging the area that that District 1 is in, the District 5 is in, where Louise Radloff is the incumbent. And we're going to be canvassing in those areas as well as anywhere basically along this corridor here. This is about, and to that, I'm going to be turning it over first to our current school board member and here the chair of the school board. And we do have a Democratic chair of our school board out here to talk about her race, to talk about what she needs from y'all. But when you're looking at that, and the reason I'm putting these maps for you to be looking is because, let's face it, if you live over here, as much as you love Louise, it may just be hard, because this is volunteer work. It may be harder for you to get over here to do the serious canvassing, because I will tell you, every one of these precincts went blue in 08. And not all of these precincts went blue in 2010. This whole stock of precincts in what would be now Lower Peachtree Corners were blue in 08, were red in 2010. That's in the heart of this Radloff district. Similar to these precincts up here, going up in the Gwinnett Mall area. Those were blue precincts in 08. There were red precincts in 2010. And I say that so that you know where you might be best able to volunteer. But volunteer someplace where it's easier for you to keep your commitment. If you you know that it's going to be hard to get you out, for you to get out there. The last thing as a candidate I like to know is that I think I can count on you, but then I can't. And I know that everybody is well-meaning, but I want you to see the map. And then I'm going to segue now to introduce Louise, who is our longest-serving school board member. She's been my school board member my entire time here, which, yeah, she's going to one day swap me for saying that, but it just happens to be true. And the institutional knowledge of having that, and having a long-time Quenisha, a long-time incumbent, as a county school board chair, as someone who truly has a heart for the kids, and is everything, and truly has a heart for people, and truly has a heart for the working family, and truly has a heart for our agenda, regardless of what party she's ever been affiliated with. Because when you were in Canada, were you a progressive, or what was the? They don't even have the same parties. She was originally from Canada, up there, as you may recall. She's always had a heart for our issues, regardless of the label that came on and got attached to her. She's had to survive everything from Christian Coalition primary challenges back in the 90s to having to deal with redistricting, and now she's here asking for your support and our support, and I'm still proud to say that she's the only school board member I've ever had. Louise Bradlaugh.
Good morning. Let me know how you got the place. But I am seeking re-election. I have not really made that decision until May this year. But as Kurt had indicated, that there are critical issues. Probably the issues are more significant this year than ever before. It goes back to funding issues, and I know it goes back to the constitutional amendment issues. And there's people have different thoughts on that particular topic. But Gwinnett County, as Kurt has indicated, has really changed. And the district that I represent is probably the highest priority in terms of free and reduced lunch in the county. And it's about an average of about 90 to 97% free and reduced lunch. I say that because that brings on a different perspective in terms of needs of our children. I believe firmly that every child deserves a right to a public education. Every child deserves the right to have a quality teacher and a well-run administrative team at the local school. I did finally order signs this past week. We are in the process of putting a brochure together. Of course, a lot of it's going to be tied to how much financial backing we have, and that's not been easy. And we'd like to do at least 3 mail-outs, and again, we'll make that decision based on the fundraising that we are having. The issues continue to be closing the achievement gap in my district, and again, I refer back to the fact that it's the high percentage of free and reduced lunch. And what that means, ladies and gentlemen, when the state does the CRCT test, the children that started school on August 1st are different than the children who take the test prior to April. We almost have, some of my schools, almost have 50% turnover in mobility. And that creates different things. That's why we have academic knowledge skills throughout the county. If the child stays within Gwinnett County, wherever they move from one school to the next, they can pick up and have the same curriculum. If they move to a different county, it's a whole different ballgame. But I believe in public education. I am committed to public education. I teach English on Sunday. Kurt and I have gone to the same church, and he knows that. I've been that for 12 years. We do that to teach parents English. Teach parents English so that they can better help their children with homework, because a lot of the families coming into the county are third-grade education coming from other countries, and that makes it very, very difficult. We have implemented eSWAST, which is amazing technology across the board, thanks to the citizens approving the 1-cent sales tax. Excuse me. That will impact how access and how knowledgeable, how quick the turnaround will be that a teacher knows if a child is successful, because they've got instant feedback. Does the child know material? Does the child not know the material? So closing the achievement gap, strategic vision, being a world-class system is all of the things that I want to continue to do. Gwinnett County received the Road Prize, the best urban school district in America in 2010. And we were a runner-up in 2009. And because of that, we have received millions of dollars for staff development and also for our graduating seniors. One of the nation problems that we see, if you follow the shop report, is the fact that young black males in our country are slower academically to be successful than other students. And Gwinnett County now is 5th in the nation on closing the achievement gap for young black males. Now, 5th is not 1, but 5th is a long way from being at the bottom of the poll. So kids, all kids, doesn't matter who the kid is, they show up at our front door, they have a right to quality education. And that's my responsibility as the best teachers to let them do their job and to not micromanage. The school board is a policy-making board. A lot of people think that you can go in and run the schools in your district. That's just not the way it works. We're a policy-making board. We have oversight of $1 billion budget, and we deal with all areas of oversight. So we hire a superintendent who runs the schools on the day-to-day business of the school. So with that, any kind of assistance, whether it's calling, whether it's walking, whether, any category that you can assist me would be very much appreciated. Thank you.
Will you be able to, if someone wants to volunteer, will you have something to take down names and stuff?
I don't this morning.
So we'll get those names for you if you do, but if you want to be volunteering for her, and it's basically along the 75 corridor, there's a lot of overlap, but because you've got a lot of folks from President Obama down to Pedro Marin in the same general area.
I was hoping that maybe we could find out, get a list of the Spanish-speaking voter list. I don't know if that's available.
That is absolutely available, and I can get you that. We should talk about that later, because I've done like phone banking in Spanish before, and one thing, y'all actually adopted a Latino child because essentially she's sort of been dumped.
I haven't think about that.
So that's not just, it's not just because your district is
No, it's
Latino,
not.
it's because it's something dear to your heart.
We had a young girl from El Salvador who was picked up by her parents twice. Once at the age of 2, they just left her, and then the people who had her sent her through Coyote. She arrived here in Georgia. She happened to walk into my English classes, and I found out she was homeless. So we went to juvenile court, took custody of her. She graduated from Meadow Creek this past year, and she's at Georgia Southern now. And she's living. And the only other thing I would say to you is that my children and my grandchildren all attend public school. My opponent's children are in private school in Atlanta, and that's a decision that, you can go on the website and see what kind of school it is. Thank you.
And last thing, or I saw that Barry had a question, Jay had a question, but because you did mention that it takes money to run these things. I know over $250,000 was spent combined in the 2010 election in my race. And I know in a school board race it's not
around,
at that level.
well, to do 3 mail-outs, it's about $30,000.
Yeah, right. So it's expensive. So what is your campaign committee name if folks care to write a check?
Committee to elect Louise Rydlaw. And
Very simple, folks.
There'll be a website coming on board this week.
Okay, great. Committee to elect Louise Rydlaw, because remember, I wish that grassroots campaigning and that get out the vote campaigning could be done on prayers and hugs. And prayers and hugs absolutely help, and they absolutely don't do it all, because part of what you end up praying for, anyone who's ever dialed for dollars, is that someone the Lord provides you the money to make sure that mail gets out. The Lord provides you the money to make sure that the canvassing gets out and the literature gets out. And one thing we will need from you, Louise, is because we will be coordinating canvassing down at the Gwinnett Democratic Party headquarters office, is to get literature from you so that when we're handing out stuff for folks in precincts to go out, because if some folks are going to be working through this office and through our staff, we're going to be basically printing out materials at the canvassing materials at the Gwinnett County headquarters. We're going to be doing the phone banking from the Gwinnett County headquarters where the phone lists are, but we will have to have the scripts and the literature, because I may be able to talk about you since we've known each other so long and have gone to church together, but not everyone here has. So we'll need scripts and literature.
I only income is Social Security, which is not, in wintertime. So, is there, if I donate to the Democratic Party, does that go to help future candidates?
What donating to the Gwinnett Democratic Party does is that it pays for the overall canvassing operation and the overall get out the vote effort, but they may give some money directly back to candidates, but again, this is what I've told you is that hiring canvassers, if you have to hire canvassers, and honestly, there are folks here who've worked for me. A lot of times you have to hire canvassers in order, if you've got about 70 precincts that either could be or should be Democratic. You know, if everyone here in this room does that, it's still probably, to be quite honest, not enough, and you do end up having to pay folks to canvass. And the money that you give to the Gwinnett Democratic Party is going to go to paying canvassers, paying to keep the phones running, paying for the vote builder. So yes, it does go to help with those efforts, but it's going to help with the overall GOTV effort in those 70 plus or minus precincts, most of which, like I said, are here. You've got a swath of Democratic precincts in this area, a swath down 124, on this section along 78 Highway as well, which is basically the South Gwinnett corridor. For those that live in South Gwinnett, that would be like this. If you're wanting to talk school clusters, you're basically talking about the Norcross, the Brookmore, the Central Gwinnett. Oh, well,
You have all of the Meadow Creek cluster, and the way the legislators regroup the districts.
And part of the Norcross cluster.
Yeah, I have half of the Norcross cluster. I have Stripling Elementary, Summer Hour, Beaver Ridge, Norcross Elementary. I have all the Meadow Creek cluster. I have all of the feeder schools in the Berkmar cluster. They took the building of Berkmar High School and put it in Dr. McClure's district, but left all the kids in my district.
I've had the same situation with Berkmar. So I do understand, but and in South Gwinnett, you're talking about the South Gwinnett High School cluster and the Shiloh High School cluster is what I was about to say. And for Central Norcross, for turning out folks in Renita Hamilton's race, you're talking about essentially, again, that's the central cluster. But you're also, if you're talking about those 70 precincts, so that's what we're working on. So yes, giving money to the party helps. Candidates will tell you I'm a candidate. You know, help is help is help. If you love it, direct money to me, or direct money to Louise gives her, because the party can only pay for the canvassers, the phone banks, the office, the vote builder, but they can't buy Louise's campaign literature. That becomes a campaign contribution. There's finance limits on that. So for Louise Bradlock, as an example, or Hamilton, or Mr. Gray, have the literature to give us to put out, have the yard signs to put up, you've got to give her money too. And so it's hard for me as a candidate to say give the money, not the candidate. It's give the candidate if you have the ability to give both. If you don't have to give the ability to give both, do give to the party. But we've got to be able to make the literature for the party to get out. One more question, then I'm going to go to the next part, because if these are general questions, they should probably be held at the
Well,
end.
some of the comments, this has to leave, I just wanted to make this point. For those of you in this room who think, I don't have a job, or I don't have kids, so why should I donate or work in the school? When the Tax Reform Council did their evaluation in 2008, the top 3 things that were in businesses in the state were transportation, water, and education. There is a direct link between having effective people and dedicated people on school boards and in your schools to getting you a job. So that is something very important. You have to have an educated population in order to have jobs in the state. So that's not to think about it. That's one of the most important things that you can do.
So, to move along, because we got several folks here, and there's only so many hours in any given day. Even Saturday only has 24. So, School Board District 2, and we've been very lucky that, School Board District 3 is currently held by Mary Kay Murphy. and she's a Republican. We've been very lucky that that in spite of how polarized and partisan these matters are, that Louise was not stripped of being school board chair when she switched parties, because it's not a county, that's not a specific office that you run county-wide for to be school board chair as there are in some places. They choose from amongst each other who the school board chair is, but that also means there's no guarantee that she would stay school board chair, or that she will have the support she needs on many votes. And no school board members agree with each other 100% of the time. That's not the way this works in politics. But because if you look at how things have happened in other states, whether you go up into North Carolina, into the Raleigh area, you go up into Virginia and Loudoun County, you see what happens when partisanship can turn a school board toxic. And I truly don't want that to happen, but I truly know that Louise now as a Democratic school board member will need help and support. And they may not go together 100% of the time, they may only go together 80% of the time, but I'm going to need her 80% of the time to stick together, especially when it comes down to issues that reflect how we deal with closing the achievement gap, how we deal with our dropout rates, how we make sure that our Title I schools are not neglected by folks that want to say, well, they get Title I money, so let them fend for themselves. You know, because of that, I'm very happy to have Ned Falk here on behalf of Karen Falk, who's running for school board district. Jane Falk, running for school board district 2. I'm sorry, it's almost beat out on the phone. Jane Falk is running for school board district 2 as a Democrat. And I would rather, you know, Louise is going to need support. This is a harder race, okay? Louise and I live in the center of the Democratic side of Gwinnett County. All we have to do is make it, it's sometimes hard to do in a district where with 155 apartment complexes, is to make sure that people show up to vote. That can be a task. That is why some of those red blue precincts in our area, in 08 down here and up here, went from blue in 08 to red in 010, is because people, not because people changed their mind, not because people were mad at Obama or mad about health care or mad about anything. They just didn't care to vote. This is a district where it's going to matter a lot. We need to make sure that there's turnout along the Highway 124 corridor and along what borders the 5th district going around, around Berkeley Lake, around Duluth, and the Gwinnett Mall area for those precincts that's Democratic in 08, to make sure that Louise is not the Democrat. I didn't like being the Democratic state senator in Gwinnett County. Louise may, right now, she may someday discover how hard it is to be the Democratic school board member. And I want to make sure, and I hope we want to make sure she's not the only one there. So I want to turn it over to you, talk about what you need from us to make sure that Jen is down there in District 2. I'm going to get it right.
Again, I'm just Bill Husband, and my wife is an advocate for kids for many years. I think you know that there's some school boards that are very dysfunctional publicly, and there's a lot of voting and things that are investigated behind the scenes, and then a lot of times the school board votes unanimously, but under the covers there's discussion, and I think that Louise and my wife have a lot of agreement in a lot of areas that if these things had more influence, then things might be changing. So my wife's issues are things like the redistricting, where they redistrict a lot based on money. Like, for example, a school 2 miles from each other is 99% no free lunch, and the other school would be mostly free lunch, like 99% free lunch. And there's just these differences that if redistricting was done more fairly, then we think that it would be more fair for all kids. And she was involved with kids with disabilities for the last 10 years, and the last 3 or 4 years she works for a nonprofit called Parent to Parent of Georgia, which advocates for kids with disabilities in the schools. And what she noticed when she first got involved in the schools is often minorities and kids with disabilities are pushed out to these alternative schools because of no child left behind. Often there's incentives for the school system to remove these kids because their scores go down. So she was advocating for services for these kids, and that's what got her involved in the school system. She was just a very, very, very passionate person, and I know she agrees with Louise on lots and lots of issues that are not just publicly disclosed. Some of the things that she really wants to focus on is trying to get the money that goes at the central office to try to push that back down to the kids, because the need is down to the teachers and the class sizes, and not central office expenses. And Gwinnett County is very, very heavy on central office expenses, and part of that is salaries of the administrators and other things. So I think my wife's effort would be to try to have more money go to the kids and to make their class sizes as small as possible. And she thinks there's a lot of bad things going on in that area. So she really needs support. If you meet her, she's an unbelievably passionate person. You might not agree with her about every issue, but if you're informed, you might change your mind. And you also would know that she would be right there for the kids like Louise is. And I know that my wife and Louise would do it.
Are y'all doing any specific phone banking, canvassing, or anything that we can?
Yes, I'm going to pass out a list. I'm going to pass out a list. There's a tool called Vote Builder that we're subscribing to, and we do have to contact a lot of Republicans. And if you know anybody that's a Republican that's reasonable, we would like to talk to them.
Kind of
right?
magenta area.
Right. So we need to contact a lot of Republicans, because if we don't get 7,000 Republicans to vote for my wife, there's no chance that she'll win. Right. So it's a little bit of a different demographic in our area, and there's a lot of issues about like my wife got involved in the last straw was because of the redistricting that happened, where they took the poorest kids from the richest schools and moved them to a poorer school. And basically, that was a Republican Democratic issue, and we think we're going to get a lot of Republicans to at least look at the ballot and look at the people. And I think if they look at the people, they look at the people, and not necessarily the party. That's the only way we'll ever win.
And because yard signs, they're going to charge you the same amount of money for yard signs as they will me, Scott, or
I'm
Louise.
down to $5,000 so far.
So, but if no one has to like you, Jack, what's the campaign committee name?
It's Friends of Jen Falk. Friends of Jen Falk. Go on our website, votejenfalk.com, and just hit the PayPal link. VoteJenFalk.com.
Go to jenfalk.com, and we're going to make sure these links and these names get out in our email blast from us as well.
I have to go down to Swanee. There's a huge fair down there, which is in our district. I'd like to pass out just a sign-up sheet, and
We'll collect that, and at the end, we'll get it back to you.
all I can tell you is, guys, she's an unbelievably responsible person. She was a transparent government, not for it. And if you want to get a copy of the budget for Gwinnett County Schools, you have to go to my wife's website, because that's where it's posted. I'm sure Louise would want to post it on the Gwinnett County, but she was voted down and did not be posted. What's posted on Gwinnett County's website is the cleaned up budget, not the real. So those kinds of issues of transparency, Louise needs help on, and I think she'll get it from.
Hopefully we can give that to you. Are you leaving now then?
I'm going to leave. I have to.
Okay. Hand out your sign-up sheet for those that want to help, that live in those areas around Berkeley Lake, Duluth, Swanee, even up into Beaufort. You know, if that's the area you want to help, you know, and you're not going to be helping in the general pool of volunteers here working on the 70 Democratic precincts, sign up there, let them know. Remember, you can go to Jen Falk, Google her name, go to our website, click on PayPal. Yes.
The line of demarcation between the two districts going to the Chattahoochee. What is that street? Is that Jimmy Carter?
You're talking about this line here is Holcomb Bridge Road,
Holcomb Bridge, rather. Okay.
or Jimmy Carter.
So the north of it would be in Jen Falk's district.
More or less, yes.
Okay.
It's a weird district, and like we said, we have schools, but we don't have people. Or we have people
In order to, yeah, I mean that's gerrymandering and that happens. In order to prevent there from being 2 Democratic school board seats, the Republicans drew the map to look like this, so that while District 5 looks fairly normal, some of these other districts are a little odd in the way they're split up, and they don't necessarily follow cluster lines the way they used to try to do in the past. Cluster lines of the school the high school district lines. They tried to follow. It was hard to because you've got to have an exact number of people, and it's hard to be exact when you're dealing with different layers of stuff. But they had to get more creative in order to prevent there from being a naturally second Democratic district in Gwinnett County.
If you guys live in the Republican, you just say that, Louise doesn't not like kids more or less because now she's a Democrat. I mean, it's like, it's an easy sell, and you have to get the Republican to switch. For Louise, that should be hard to do, right? It should not be hard to do, right?
I'm going to be working this afternoon at the Connecticut County Fair, so if you have any literature you want me to take there.
Now, we start looking at basically what looks like soup. And there's a lot of different colors here and a lot to tell you about. But the map didn't change. It's still Gwinnett County. There's 70 blue precincts, or precincts that are either from dark blue to light blue to pink that we know should flip, are still the same precincts along this 85 and 316 corridor going into Lawrenceville, and still this area along 78 Highway in South Gwinnett, which is Centerville, Thomas Land, Snellville, parts of Lilburn, that area, and then as we point out, some of the I-24, not I-24, the 124 corridor, corridor as well. So it's the same precincts, but I wanted you to see the house map because Gwinnett County is one of the largest house delegations. It's about the third largest house delegation, even though we're the second largest county. It's the third largest house delegation. But in spite of the county going basically 47% for Obama in 08, only about a third, about 33% of our state house seats are Democratic. And the Republicans, because they were in charge, drew the map to make it even harder, so there would be even fewer Democrats in the state house from Gwinnett. Okay? And it's that simple. And so, and I'm sorry he's not here, he had said he would be here, but basically you've got this area here is an area that has basically been targeted for the Republicans to try and take back seats. That's again right here in Norcross, up to the Gwinnett Mall area, all in school board member Radloff's district, all of my Senate seats, all along those blue precincts. This area down here is currently represented by a state representative named Scott Holcomb. He's new because he's not a new state representative. His district had come in, was all in DeKalb County before, but they drew this map that gave him part of Gwinnett, and they're targeting him as one of the seats to try and win so that they can get a supermajority in the state house. Because if they can get a supermajority in the state house, they can change the rules anytime they want. They can pass constitutional amendments anytime they want. And for folks that care about how constitutional amendments are done here in Georgia, regardless of what side they're on the issue, to have one party in control of all levers of government and able to pass constitutional amendments at will, all you have to do is look at states like Virginia, look at states like Arizona, look at states like Kansas, where they're still deciding whether President Obama is an American, to see how crazy that is. And our best line of, so you've got Scott Holcomb here that they targeted to defeat, and then this is Pedro Marin's district, a district that had been Democratic. It's now been drawn so that the Republican wins. And this is, and again, so those are two seats. The Republicans only have to pick up 4 to have that supermajority. 2 of the 4 seats they want to have absolute power in Georgia. 3 of the 4, if you count the open seat that Ms. Hamilton is running, 3 of the 4, 75% of their eggs, okay, they put in the one basket of winning Republican seats in Gwinnett County, in order to have an unstoppable, absolute power majority here in Georgia. And the only thing that stands between them and absolute power is us. And there's no mouse in my pocket. George Soros, I do not have his cell phone number. You know, we are no billionaire. You know, we are the party of people. I am not aware of any Democratic sugar daddies that are just money out on the street. Are you? You have none? You? We don't have sugar daddy millionaires the way they do on the Republican Party that think there's horse races down at Churchill Downs to see who they have the thrill of buying presidency. It's not the 1880s in the Democratic Party. It's the 21st century in the Democratic Party. And so it's between the 3 of those 4 seats come down and understand we can win all 3 seats and they can still get the supermajority. Absolutely. Not a codependence and honestness meeting. I can only deal with, we can only deal with what's going on here in Gwinnett. It's our job to make sure that those 3 seats, they don't get those 3 seats. That they've got to go get those 4 seats someplace, those 3 seats, and that other seat someplace else. And to that end, a huge amount of the effort, and the reason that we located the Gwinnett Democratic Party headquarters in the Democratic part of the county this time, not up in Swan, in my district and Representative Loren's district, is because this is so important. This is so crucial. They're not here, but we're going to be getting literature from them. Pedro Loren's office is in the same office as the Gwinnett Democratic headquarters. Scott Holcomb's district is mostly in DeKalb. We have got to make sure that his precincts that are precincts that were blue in 08, I know because Louise and I worked on those precincts. His precincts that were blue in 08 and red in 010 and better be blue in 08 again, or he's toast. It's just no other way to do it. You know, I want to tell folks how it is. And so if you're going to be canvassing, this is ground zero if you live along the 85 corridor. That's Louise's district. That's parts of, especially up here, that's parts of Ms. Murphy's district where Jen Falk is running. And that's where the issue of that supermajority is going to be coming from. And then the other area, and so if you live in this area and want to volunteer and you've signed up on this list, and you've ever put down that you might possibly volunteer, or you volunteered in the past in one of our campaigns, we're going to be contacting you about canvassing, phone banking, doing voter registration in those areas. We would love to know if you have some ideas about voter registration sites all along these corridors to try and set up and do that. Okay? Under the auspices of the party, or under the auspices of, we'll get somebody umbrella to do it, but we'll be out there doing it. Okay? We've got about a month left, a little less than a month. About 3 weeks that we can do voter registration. We got a bunch of, we've got 53 days to do canvassing and phone banking. The other area, because I don't, as you heard me talk about, there's this section of precincts that goes down 124, and then you've got South Gwinnett and Snellville. And Gwinnett County, because it has such a large minority population, you have to remember that 51%, more than 50% of our school kids are people of color. You know, more than 50% of this county are people of color, and yet we have an all-white school board. We have no African American, because Billy Mitchell got redistricted out. African Americans are no in the state legislature from Gwinnett County. We have 2 Latinos, one of whom has been targeted for defeat because he's in the Democratic Party. And we have, I mean, our district really does, our county doesn't look like our district because of how, like us. Our county legislature and our House delegation doesn't look like us. Not just partisan-wise, it just literally like, doesn't look like this. You know, it doesn't look like this room. It doesn't look like any version of this room. If I were to go to a Norcross Business Association meeting that would probably lean towards the other party, it still wouldn't look like us because it doesn't look like us anymore. And yet, this group of folks that are determined to hang on power have drawn the map to do that way. And so you've got some squirrely-looking districts and districts that were drawn purely on partisanship. But we've got a shot, not just at defending these 2 seats, an absolute necessity. We've got one other seat down here, and it is district is 105. 105. Say that was right. Okay. I don't know why I was having problems with Jen's district there for a while. But District 105, which basically it comes down here through Snellville.
Yeah, if you have internet access, you can pull it up on my website.
Okay. Well, this is it right here, actually. So this is what we're going to use right here. Oh.
Just the light
Oh, is it
green.
green?
Just
Oh,
all
this
that
is the
is light
green.
green.
I'm sorry, I'm pointing to the wrong place. It's up here, but, so it's this area right here. It comes into our district, into the 5th district, and then goes all the way down into Grayson and all of this area. That is an area that we've got to focus on because, again, if they win it, and they're one step closer to the supermajority. And if we win it, they're one step further away, and that's an area that's been trending in our favor. I know you've got a question that I'm going to turn it over to Renita, who's running in that area. I need her to make her pitch as well.
I got a question like, what is Senator Balfour's situation? I believe he's had some problems.
We are going to get there. We're working our way from school board on up.
Did the Tea Party on it?
Well, I understand. I understand. But, you know, what is it that's the late Steve Jobs used to say, but wait, there's more. But wait. But to that end, again, the path to preventing that Republican supermajority and the path to making sure our county delegation starts to actually look like us, act like us, talk like us, represent our values. You know, they like to talk about values. There's a values voter summit up there, which is mostly, you know, I guess if brown shirt represents a type of value, folks know what that means. If folks don't, I'll let that one sit. Yeah, a brown shirt is a set of values. It's not our values. It's not America's values. It's not what we were founded on, in spite of growing pains, thoughts on that matter. But if we want a delegation, we are going to have to not just focus on, well, how do we win safe seats? How do we keep what we got? How do we sort of circle the wagons? If we aren't willing to go out in these areas where you've got some Democratic precincts, you've got some Republican precincts, but everything is moving in our direction. Everything is moving in our direction. The wind is at our backs. But the wind is only going to get us across the finish line if we're willing to run fast enough and work hard enough. Because all the wind at our back means that we're not running into a wind. We don't have something slowing us down. We've got to move this up. We've got to go out here in District 5 and make this happen and send a real message. This is a two-party county. This is that we are tired of a county that doesn't represent our values, that doesn't look like us, doesn't act like us, doesn't talk like us, doesn't care about us. And that end, Ms. Hamilton is here. She ran, and I want to turn it over to her to tell us a little bit about herself. She redirected to her website. She wears these beautiful pearls everywhere. I think there's a signature item, and even in a t-shirt. But it's more than that. It's sending a message, and it's making sure that we send someone just who's really top-notch and at the same time. And I'll admit, we haven't always qualified candidates in our party that can walk and chew gum at the same time. So I'm really impressed with her. And I want her to have a say, talk about her race, because it is a little further from ours. But I do want y'all to know that we are going to have to go out there and campaign. Some of us, we're going to have to get in our cars and carpool and go out to Grayson.
Thank you so much, Senator Thompson. I really appreciate that. If everybody could just give your attention quickly to the map. Yeah, well, there it is. Thank you. I want to share this information with you. When I decided to get in the race in January, the first person I talked to was our chairman, Stephen Deeks. And Steve Deeks helped me to understand, and it's going to come up in a second, helped me to understand that this is a great opportunity for Democrats, which is why I decided to get in this race. Now, of course, my Republican opponent and their crew called me up and said, do you really think you're going to win as a Democrat in Gwinnett County? I said, absolutely, I'm definitely going to win. So we have been super aggressive, and we've gotten a lot of support from the House, and this is a targeted district. And what that means is that Leader Abrams and the House caucus has decided to pour resources, time, and energy into this particular district. Now, I brought this map up. There are 9 precincts. And in 2008, 3 of these precincts were solid Democratic precincts. They went for Lee Thompson, which is up in this area, downtown Lawrenceville, 60, 71, this is the area I live in, and 144. So the top half of my particular district is a Democratic district. Where we're going to be focusing and concentrating our work is in this lower half, which tends to go Republican. So you have unincorporated Loganville down in this about Archer High School. We have 3 high schools that feed into this area: Central Cluster, Grayson Cluster, and the Archer Cluster high schools feed into this area. There are 55,000 constituents in this district, and we have 25,000 registered voters. So the great thing about what we're doing now is every single day we're running canvas operations from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. every single day. So we are flexible with your schedule. If you have the time to dedicate, there's always a team of people going out. Every single week, we hit a different precinct. We have 53 days left. We have 8 precincts that we haven't hit yet, and every week is a different precinct. Next week, the House Caucus and their entire team, they are coming in to help me canvass on 144. So if you have the time to join us on Saturday, all day Saturday, please come out and work with me. If you have time during the week, if you're retired and you spend time at home, we go out and canvass from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And if you like to
How should
canvass,
they sign, if they want, are you going to be passing around the list here, or should they go to your website? What do they do?
you can go to my website and,
They want to volunteer.
but there is a place on the website where you can sign up for the newsletter, and you can become a volunteer. But otherwise, you can always reach down where it is the contact. You hit this contact window. Go to voterenitahamilton.org. Hit the contact window, and you'll have an opportunity to sign up for the newsletter and to volunteer. And we have a young man, his name is Jeffrey Kernan II. He will be able to get back with you. He's our volunteer coordinator, and he works with making sure everybody's out here. So please, please, please join me. This is a very exciting time. We're going to win this. It is a close race, but I'm running against a person that she's ultra-conservative, but we're going to focus on the best, most logical things that we can do to win this district back for Democrats and make all of our government fair for everyone and all-inclusive government. So I appreciate your help, and does anybody have any questions?
If people want to contribute, how do they contribute? Yard signs ain't cheap.
Yes, that's right. Yard signs are cheap. We're in the process of trying to raise now about $15,000. You can go to the contribute button on my website or contribute campaign. Hit the contribute button. It will take you directly to the PayPal site. And whether you pledge $5, $10, $2,500, you can donate there, and I appreciate all your help and your.
They want to write a check right now because the bird in the hands.
Yes, I know. Everybody's looking
What's the
for right
campaign for now?
Wenetians, this is my brilliant idea. Wenetians, if you know how to spell it, Gwinnett and then T-I-A-N-S. Wenetians and Friends elect Renita Hamilton. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Yes, ma'am. What house district is this? This is House District 105.
it is an open seat.
It's
There's
an
not a
open-
Republican incumbent.
No incumbent.
For a right-wing Republican opponent, she's like 72.
She is an older lady, very mature. Very
Watch it now.
She's a great older lady. Tea party.
Great woman who ought not be in office.
Yep, she only wants to serve one term, and I want to be there for several terms. And we all know you can't get anything done in 2 years' time. Would you agree, Senator?
Absolutely.
So we need somebody who wants to be there for the long haul. Thank
So,
you.
like I said, walk and chew gum at the same time. Someone else who's outspeaking me once she's been in office a little bit. Again, the Republican basket are trying to pick up 4 seats. 3 of those seats involve Gwinnett. The Scott Holcomb seat that I just talked to you about, because he can't be here, he's got an event. This District 105, which if you are volunteering for us, and the Gwinnett Democratic Party will be giving you precincts out there, trust me. And will be, for those that are a little more transportation limited, we will arrange for carpools. I know that when the House Democratic Caucus comes up here, if you volunteer and you say, I don't have transportation, someone will come pick you up on their way, because they either are going out 78 highway or they're coming up 85 and going down 124. So either way, they can come get you all the way. And we will make sure that you're able to canvass out there. Now I did see, I wasn't sure he was going to make it, I'm glad he is. Can you get me back to the house map? We'll go back to the house map. We had already spoken about the district of Benton and talked about the absolute need, some of what happened with redistricting, the overlap with Louise Ragloff's district and things like that. But this is your time to make your pitch.
Good morning.
Pedro came into office in the House with me. He's been in office. He's finishing up his 10th year representing us. And literally, I mean, some of us, like Ms. Bellamy and others, not me personally, but you're part of our delegation and part of what little we have in Gwinnett County that makes our delegation look like us. I don't know if we've got to hear that part of the speech. It's imperative that we keep him. I'm glad he's here so he can talk about how can we help you in your district here.
So thank you, Senator, and good morning, everyone. And I'm sorry for being a little late. I'm opening campaign headquarters as we speak. I had 10 volunteers over at the office this morning. We're doing a canvassing training, and we're going to go out to knock on doors a little later. And in fact, I invite everyone for your next Citizen Advisory Council, that maybe we can do it over at the campaign headquarters. I'm located at 2125 Beaver Road Road. That's where the Greyhound bus station is. There's a little strip mall. I have a suite there, right across St. Patrick Catholic Church. District 96 was changed because of the redistricting. I guess I was too effective in debating issues that affects working families and mainly the immigrants communities in Gwinnett and the state of Georgia. So because of that, I've been kind of a punch, and I was changed. Redistricting was changed from 56% Democrat to 56% Republican. Although we've been crunching the numbers, and it's going to be very, very, very tight race. We're looking at the numbers, and it's going to be less than 200, 300 votes, whoever wins. Right now, a lot of the new areas that I got, in fact, my district used to go from Pleasant Hill all the way to the Gwinnett County line. Now that has changed, and now they cut me off on Jimmy Carter and took me all the way to Duluth Highway, 120, and Old Peachtree Road. So I have a lot of the Duluth area new in my district, which are the ones that we're trying to hit hard on canvassing and poll banking. What we've been finding out on those new areas in Duluth, that there's a lot of Asians, mainly Koreans, and I do very, very, very well on those communities. In fact, I have groups already doing some campaign for me that have developed a group called Korean Americans for Pedro. So we're engaged in that community. I was last night at an event with them. We had over 250 people at an event. Congressman John Lewis came out to share with us some of his troubles through the years in office and the civil rights movement and everything. So it's going to be a tough race. It's going to be a tough race, but you know, I always say that you know, with the blessing of God, number one, with the permission and support of my family, very important. Number two, my staff and volunteers. And of course, you know, with the favor and the support of the voters of District 96, I will prevail, and I will get back. I think we need for us to keep me in office. Why? Gwinnett is a minority county. We're very diverse, and look at the room. I always have complained about the other side not really looking like America. And you saw now on the Republican convention on TV that really I didn't, no offense, but I didn't see myself there. And again, you know, and I don't complain the party, because remember, delegates are elected by their peers. But I complain about Latinos and Asians not stepping up and running for those delegate seats, so they can, so it doesn't attract them. because I know a lot of Asian Republicans, I know a lot of Latinos that are Republicans, but you know, we have to, as minorities, we have to step up, and we have to run for those type of offices with either party is almost a line. But again, it's a tough race. Need your help. We've been calling to do some more canvassing, volunteers, money. I'm one of the target as Ms.
So people
Harrington.
want to contribute. How do they contribute? If they want to write a check right now, where?
Oh, Marin for State House. Marin, M-A-R-I-N for State House. That's my,
online if people have.
and you can go to marinstatehouse.com, www.marinstatehouse.com. I'm revamping the website, and it should be the new one should be going online tonight. With a lot of new things on it. But yes, you can go and donate there to Marin State House. Yes.
I know that your party headquarters is in the same place with the Gwinnett Democratic Party. What's the address?
Yes, it's 2125.
When to when are y'all having your grand opening?
Today, you're welcome today. If you want to come back,
What hour to what hour?
it's from 4 to 6 in the afternoon over at the 2125 Beaver Ruin Road. We're going to have a little get together and get the campaign. That suite was provided to me, and I wanted to bring the Gwinnett Democrats because I think it's important for us now to be united. And of course, with that headquarters, we will be bringing also some of the other candidates that represent that area to be housed there in the headquarters.
And the folks here are so sold they want to volunteer specifically for you. You take out the sign ups, you take over your website, what do you want them to do?
Yes,
Yes. Not just, how do you close the sale for us? Where should we go to sign up?
You can go to Marin State House at AOL.com. That's my email address. And we will get back with you, or you can find on the website as well where to contact us for volunteers. I have a volunteer director as well. I have a canvassing director, and you know we're getting our staff together.
And that'll essentially be going down to the headquarters there by the Greyhound station at Pinnacle and Beaver Ruin, picking up lists, going out and canvassing, just like for anyone who's done that for me, or for anyone who's done that for in past election years for Brian Thomas or Hugh Floyd or anybody. It's the same. They haven't reinvented canvassing. So it's maps, lists, literature.
Knock on doors, and we did already. We've been doing the new areas on the district. Today we're going to concentrate around the headquarters of the Beaver Ruin area of canvassing, and I have some volunteers, and we're doing training. And of course, you know that's home. So you know, feel free to stop by, and if you need it for anything, please let me know. All right?
All right.
Any questions? No questions? Yes, I do have some. I will bring it back. Yes, I do have some. I'm sorry, I was just running from opening the headquarters and getting everything ready.
What I told them at the very beginning is that the folks that have worked in the past, or folks that don't even know exactly which candidate they want to help with, the 5th Senate District staff and our efforts in coordinating with the Gwinnett Democratic Party out of that office up there. So if we're contacting you, it's going to be coming there to help Ball Bank, coming there to help, and it will be in one of these races that we're talking about today, whether it's Renita, Louise Radloff's, Jen Fogg's, yours, Scott Holcomb's, and making sure that these precincts come out. But that's sort of going to be ground zero for folks.
And I don't know, Senator, if you touched this.
But we will need literature. We can't canvass.
I will provide that. But I don't know if you touch on this, but it's extremely important. There's 9 target races for the House of Representatives, for the House Caucus, Democratic Caucus. San Antonio is one of them. I'm also one of them. We have 9. We have to turn 5 to stay Democratic. If not, they will have supermajority. I don't know that. That's scary to have them because if not, you know, then we will see a lot of constitutional amendments. We have defeated a lot of nonsense that has come in front of us, but we have the numbers to kill everything that they present to us. If they do have the supermajority, we won't be able to do anything with it. All right, thank you very much. Let me go to the part.
All right, folks, so, but wait, there's more. So we have, we've talked about, and we've tried to go all from bottom to top because we're a grassroots party. But in the past, to be honest, we call ourselves a grassroots party and we only care about who gets elected president. And you can't have it that way and then expect to get a different result than what we've been getting. And one of the reasons why we're sort of going, this way up is because it matters that when you're voting, when you're talking to people about voting, that they aren't just, that they're going out and they're not just voting for Obama. Absolutely important, God love him. But anyone that does that, him or her, anyone that does that. But it's absolutely important they go down. That's why down the ballot. That's why we started at school board, kind of most consider the bottom rung. But if you know anything about how the world works, it's the most important office because it's about our kids all the way up. So we've done state house, we've done school board, we've done state house, and now we're up to state senate. And again, it's a slightly different map, same sort of pastel colors, but the precincts didn't change. Again, you're looking at those Democratic precincts that we've got to get folks willing to canvass in. If you live in South Gwinnett, along here, along the 78 corridor, that basically helps Renita, at least in this part of that area. It helps President Obama because this is the part of the county that went blue, and it still went blue in 2010. To be honest, that's where Senator Butler represents. But the turnout went from being really high in 2008 to being really crappy in 2010 because we just didn't care. It wasn't a presidential election. We're the party of grassroots, but we weren't willing to make sure the grassroots and the folks in these lower offices, like folks like me, got reelected. And it mattered, and it matters, and it will matter that we have a high turnout. Because if you turn a precinct blue, it's great to color it in on the map, but if that precinct only 400 people show up, and then the precinct that you colored red, 3,000 people showed up, guess what? Red beat blue. It doesn't matter if it's 1 for 1. It's not an electoral college thing. It's 50% plus 1. You're not with. This is not about coloring a map and making a map look all pretty and wow, look at how. It's like when the Republicans win those square states out west. All the Republican coyotes are not voting. And I'm actually meaning coyotes, not people bringing immigrants across that. So it looks like there's huge sections of this country that are Republican. There ain't no people in it. But it's the same difference. You've got to win in these areas. So turnout in this area is key. Turnout along here is key. This is our district in the 5th district here. This is that part of the 5th district that's in District 105 where Renita's running, where we're going to be canvassing. This is still Pedro's district. This is the Scott Holcomb area. This is all the Louise Radloff area. Nothing has changed. But when we're looking at the state senate, now we're up the next level. And again, you've got to remember, the Republicans are trying to get a supermajority, that thing that we keep bantering about, in the House. But they also, in order to have absolute power, they've got to have that same supermajority in the Senate. To have that supermajority, they got rid of a Democratic senator in South Georgia. They had to pick up 2 senators. They did one just by redistricting. They threw his district into oblivion. He had to retire because he couldn't move to North Georgia. So they got one just by drawing the map. And now it came down to one other seat. And so they drew a Senator, Judge Stoner, who was in a district mostly in South Cobb, an area of Cobb County that looks a lot like our area, where you have Smyrna and Vinings, an area that's incredibly diverse and largely Democratic. They drew him into a district that's now in North Buckhead and Sandy Springs and North Fulton, an area that on the best of days is 50-50 Democratic Republican. On the best of days he's going to spend $1 zillion. Because that's a very expensive district because of all the, not McMansions, not mini mansions, real mansions. It's a very expensive district, and on the best day it's going to be a coin toss. If they win that one seat, they have the supermajority, unless we can win a seat somewhere else of the 36 seats that Republicans currently control in the state Senate. Don Balfour's district, District 9, is this pink district here that goes in part out that 78 highway corridor that I told you about, takes as part of that 124 corridor, and it's an area that's trending. And if you look at the 9th Senate district, where Senator Balfour is represented since I guess the late 80s, early 90s, that district has changed every time, and it's gotten further and further out because that area keeps trending Democratic. And in order to keep him in power, they keep having to change his district radically. The way they changed his district radically this time is they gave me, our district, the 5th district, all his Democratic precincts up in Lawrenceville. So all of this area, they really only, to correct for population, they really only had to give me one extra precinct. But they gave me, they took away some precincts, and they did some, a precinct in DeKalb County, and they took away a precinct in Duluth. So that they could give me a big chunk of Lawrenceville, which I love representing them. I'm glad to have them. But it was to save Don Balfour. And the reason that they knew, one of the reasons they knew that they had to make his district, fix his district. And I'm talking about fixing like when you're playing poker here, fixing. Was because Balfour is, to be very blunt, on the tape. There's no way around it. So much so that the Ethics Committee was investigating over fraud issues. For anyone who doesn't know what fraud is, that's lying to take money from the government, to use it for your personal purposes. Most of the time, if you will ask Democratic state representative Ron Saylor, who's in jail, fraud gets you indicted and convicted and sent to jail. Or if you happen to be a Democrat like former state Senator Charlie Walker, and you're a Democrat and you do the same thing, former Senator Walker is also in jail. Because that's what the Ethics Committee run by Republicans does to Democrats who do this, commit fraud. Republicans get fined $5,000 and told not to do it again. Because apparently the rules about fraud are different if it's Republican fraud. Because the rules about voter ID are different. And the rules about, rules are just different about voter registration, a lot of things, and it applies here too. But justice has a way of working itself to the top. Because I, as a Christian, believe that God doesn't get stopped by a voter ID law or by a stacked ethics committee. Things have a way of working through the system. And so now the GBI, the actual people that actually do lock you up, okay, is taking a look at some of the things that Senator Balfour has been doing. And because it's not a partisan thing where Democrats go to jail and Republicans get fined. Someone in the GBI said, well, wait a minute, illegal is illegal, I do believe. And so they're looking at it. And we have a real shot, because of that, at taking back this Senate seat 9 this year. And the reality is that this is the next Senate seat turn anyway, because it's the last part of South Gwinnett that's not Democratic in terms of precincts, not in terms of how they've drawn the line to make sure they stay in power. Okay? But in terms of precincts, it's sort of the last bastion of the Republicans on the south side of Gwinnett. And it's our opportunity, and absolutely I'm giving money, prayers, working for Senator Stoner in District 6 there in parts of Cobb and again in that North Fulton area. But if anyone's ever played golf or knows golf, we need a mulligan, we need something else to be able to say, just in case that district then becomes a coin toss in the best of situations, doesn't go our way. Okay? We have to have a backup plan. If anyone who's been involved in politics, at least since 2000, knows when you put all your eggs in one basket, when your entire electoral strategy depends on winning the state where your opponent's brother is governor, when your entire electoral strategy depends on winning the district, preventing a supermajority, where all of your opponents, political parties, super donors, and sugar daddies live. If that's your strategy, is hold the seat where the sugar daddies live, then you need a new strategy, and you need a broader strategy. Obama was classic about we've got to expand. We can't keep trying to pull an inside straight, which is a hard thing to win and to pull in poker. If anyone's ever haven't played poker, that's a hard one to pull. Okay, so this is expanding the map. This is making sure we have that mulligan. This is making sure again that Gwinnett County represents us. We have a real shot at this because we have a top-notch candidate, Scott Drake, who was in this before the GBI got involved. It wasn't someone who said, "Ooh, here's an opportunity." There's opportunities everywhere. This is someone who knew that this was the right thing to do. We needed a delegation from Gwinnett in the legislature, and that we needed a Senate in Georgia that represented our views. And so he threw his hat in the ring before any of this sort of started coming down the pipe. He's got a real shot at this, but he doesn't have a shot at it because, again, there's no mouse in my pocket if we, us, don't show up and write checks, don't show up and volunteer, and if you're only willing to canvass in precincts that are blue, so you never have to talk to a Republican. I don't know what to tell you. This is not about that. This is a game where you got to have some thick skin. You got to go knock on some doors. You got to hand it out and know that it's not that certainly when you're canvassing for the party, it's about turning out our base. It's about turning out those blue precincts that are along here, making sure that every blue voter along the 124 corridor comes out. But, there's no perfect list. You'll get some car doors. You'll learn how to deal with that. We'll train you how to deal with that. We won't move the ball forward if we're not willing to go out and put up for someone who also put up for us, put up with us, put up for us. And that's Scott Drake. I want you to talk about your race.
Thanks, Senator Hopper. My name is Scott Drake. I'm a lawyer. I'm here locally in Lawrenceville, former prosecutor, father of 3 children, all in public schools. I'm a very strong, vocal supporter of public schools. And one of the reasons I got into the race, aside from this ethics issue, and that's a huge issue as well, especially with my opponent, Tom Long, who, as Kurt told you, is just as crooked as a dog's hind leg. Or you could say as crooked as our district is wrong. Either one works. But one of my other issues is public education. I have found out through the course of this campaign that just in this year alone, the budget has been slashed. And there's no other way to say it. Slashed by $1.1 billion, billion with a B. And that money's not coming from any other sources. It's not being made up by stimulus funds. It's just not there. And as Lisa said earlier, $300 million just in Gwinnett alone. And if you look back further, it's more like $3 or $4 billion in the past 3 or 4 years. So we have got to get in there and fight for basic quality public education, K through 12. I'm a proud part of the public schools, whether they be high schools, colleges that are public before, like the University of Georgia, or my law school, the College of Law at Georgia State. All public schools, every Democrat from Jimmy Carter, Busby, going back, knew that investments in basic quality education paid off by moving kids like me from the lower ladders of the economic strata to the higher levels through education. We become better workers, better taxpayers, better citizens. And that's what we've got to get back to. I don't believe our Republican opponents are bad people, but their policies end up with bad results when they cut basic quality education. When we talk about ethics, as Kurt alluded to, Senator Balfour has been fined $5,000 for 18 different times for the past 2 or 3 years, charging the taxpayer, you all, for his travel expenses from his home in Snellville to the state capitol, traveling in state for Senate business, supposedly. The only problem was He was nowhere near the state. He was out of state. He was in Vegas. He's in Orlando. He's in Texas. He's anywhere but here. 18 different times. Now, the Associated Press found 19 times where his lawyer, God bless him, is saying, well, you know, he started out that day in the state and then he left the state. Please. So we have at least 18, possibly 19 times where Senator Balfour is lying and cheating and stealing from you. At the same time, he's billing you 18 times for travel he's not doing. That's money that could have gone to some kid in District 1 for Radloff, some child in my school district. It's outrageous. And as Kurt alluded to, if you're Ralph David Abernathy, you get prosecuted by then Democratic State Attorney General Trevor Baker. So let's hold off and see what happens now with Senator Balfour. Thank God the GBI is investigating. Hopefully they will indict Senator Balfour, and we will get some true justice in this case. There was one lone Republican on the Senate Ethics Committee who, God bless him, said, you know, $5,000 is outrageous. It's not enough. This man should be censured. He should lose his chairmanship. He's one of the most powerful men under the Gold Dome. He should lose that chairmanship. And by God, I'm going to forward this to the Attorney General because there are several possible crimes to be committed, along with theft, false swearing, and violation of the law. So hopefully we'll get some resolution there.
Because I did see someone giving me the watch so I can come up there, and we are on a time limit. If folks want to contribute to you, they want to write a check right now, Burning Hand is worth more than $2 bucks, what should they do?
You can write a check to my page of Elect Scott Drake. You can find me on the web at electscottdrake.com. I'm also on Facebook at Scott Drake for State Senate. We need volunteers. We plan on doing some mailers, and as you know, that costs money. We're going to be doing some robocalls again, cost money. And anything you can do, you can contribute to go to our
They
website.
can go to the website and volunteer, and they can contribute online,
You can donate online as
and
well.
they can write you a check right now.
Absolutely.
Those are all three awesome things because we've got to do that because again, you know, if their entire strategy depends on holding the seat where your opponent's sugar daddies live, it's not a great strategy. So
We do. We have some literature.
so we have some literature. Make sure that the party headquarters has literature too, because that's where, when we're doing canvassing and just handing out precincts to folks, we're going to need that because otherwise it will make no, you know, I won't get, if I pull out a precinct, what if it's 78, and I don't have any literature for you, then I may end up having to pull up another precinct. So make sure that we get literature, because I can't send someone out and knock on doors just say, hey. And that gets done, and we really appreciate it. Does anyone have any specific questions? And I hope that answered your question. I mean, what's happening is that they're investigating him. But it's 53 days before an election. I don't expect anything to happen other than, you know, between now and election day, you never know. You know, crazy things can happen, but you can't bet on crazy things. You know, that's, you know, if you're wanting your opponent to self-destruct, that's called prayer. What we need is prayer and canvassing. Okay, so prayer and contact, prayer and contribution. That's what I need us to be doing. That's what you need to be doing. And I do appreciate you being here. Thank you. Okay, so I think that's about it. We're a little bit over. Folks have any quick end of the meeting questions? We'll take a few questions, and we'll do that democratic tradition of the meeting after the meeting, so the folks up there can settle up. So that I know I have a list of announcements that are somewhere around here. But a couple of questions, yes.
Kurt, you know me, I've been with the Democratic Party for a number of years. I'm council president of the Gwinnett Democratic Wing. We have been trying to find a location. I'm also with Organized for Americans.
Find a location to have an office?
To have voter registration.
Okay.
So many places don't want any part of it, or they want so much requirements. And if you have any suggestions where we could do voter registration we're coming to the deadline for the last day to register
Sure.
for the general.
There's less than 3 days. We're going to be talking about some voter registration locations. Among those, you know, I know that in 08 people were doing voter registration at the Department of Labor and the DDS offices up there. In the parking lot, people coming in and out of office because, again, you know, it's not the 1%ers losing their jobs, it's the 99%ers that are applying for unemployment, and everybody's standing in line for, you know, if you want to see, you know, Republican governance in action, stand in line to get your driver's license renewed and have to produce all the ID that all of us now have to produce, because God forbid somebody get a license that both their parents weren't born here and date back to the 1850s living here, you know. So I would say that's a good area. If you also talk with me, I will tell you that LA Fitness, and there's an LA Fitness on Holcomb Bridge, there's an LA Fitness in Sugarloaf, there's an LA there's an LA Fitness in Paulville, Georgia if you really want to go out there, but I prefer that we focus on our precincts. I don't know if I've been wanting to register voters out there, but at least 2 of those, LA Fitness has been very good about allowing folks to go in and register voters. It happens to be a blue company, and because of all of the preventative, what would you call it, the wellness care stuff that's in the Healthcare Affordability Act, they have been quietly, or not so, I mean, quietly in the sense of not broadcasting it, but if you go to LA Fitnesses, you will discover a lot of them are allowing folks look like us to register voters. And so I would say that let's talk to the LA Fitness here on Holcomb Bridge, talk to the LA Fitness at Sugarloaf up near Discover Mills, and see what we can do. So those are, you know, off the top of my head, those are 3 suggestions. The DDS office, the Department of Labor office, and the 2 LA Fitnesses. Obviously you have to get permission from them, but I know that the LA Fitnesses have been very good about allowing folks to set up and do voter registration drives at their locations. Were there any other questions before, and as far as finding, were there any other questions before we move on?
You mentioned Walmart, you have to be not worried.
Walmarts are not going to let us register.
Per se, but like, I have a friend she's doing it through another organization, she's doing it under their name, League of Muslim Voters. So you've got an organization you're in that would lend their name to doing voter registration, that's a suggestion.
I will say that they're a little bit difficult because their voters are our voters, but their owners are not. So it's going to have, that would be a hard one to get permission from them. So more power to you, you can find some. So I did want to just take a moment as introductions. As folks know, last time Brett went off to my alma mater, AU, to get a master's, and we miss him horribly, but I really want to introduce Tom Lancy. He's a new staff person. You can call him father, especially when it comes to phone banking, canvassing, voter registration. There's a broken link on our website, that kind of stuff. Tom's going to be down at the Capitol most of the time. We can call the 404-463-1318 number. Most of the time, it's an answer. Say hello.
Hey, how's it going? You know, get a hold of me for Kurt's email.
September 18th, Tuesday. You know, we talked about the fact that grassroots cost money. September 18th, over here at the Iron Horse Tavern, we're having a fundraiser. This is for my campaign. Part of that is because even though, yes, I do not have opposition, my opponent realized he lived in Dunwoody, and Dunwoody is not in our district. So he dropped out, thanks to Jay reminding him of that. She's actually the first of it. So I do thank her. But events like this cost money, making sure that folks like Louise Johnson, Chief of Staff, Tom, are here to do this work, making sure that, because sometimes it does come down to paying canvassers, and they estimate that you end up paying about $1 a door for canvassing. Now folks that are canvassing say, really? I know I wasn't getting $1 a door, just sort of on an average, that's what they'll tell you. But it does cost money in canvassing. It does cost money to get that literature out. And if it does cost money if we're going to do robocalls to try and remind Democrats to vote in our district. even if I'm not on the ballot, I'm committed to doing these kind of things, make sure that all of our precincts that were blue in 08, and especially those that backslid, and the Baptists know what that means, and voted red in 2010, are back and understand what this is about, and understand how important this is in 010, plus a few others. We've got to have that money. Tuesday the 18th from 7:30 to 9, we're having a fundraiser at the Iron Horse Tavern. If you cannot make it, want to contribute, you can go to becauseyourvoicecounts.com. You can go to kurtthompson.com, and I'll redirect you. Just Google my name, Kurt Thompson, get the site. It'll send you through Act Blue. You can contribute there using any particular credit card that you want. You can write a check here to friends and neighbors of Kurt Thompson. You can call Tom and get the mailing address, or we can give it to you here. But we will need that money in order to make sure that literature is printed, robocalls are made, in order to make sure that we're doing the Get Out the Vote effort, to make sure that Scott can focus on swing voters, to make sure that Juanita can focus on swing voters, to make sure that Louise and others can focus on swing voters, whether it's Pedro or whoever, because our job is to get the base out. Their job, like I said, they have to close the deal themselves. That Republican is going to make them the exception to the rule, one of the one or two exceptions. So they haven't just realized they're not a Republican, but they still call themselves a Republican and vote Democratic. But he's got to go make that sell, and she's got to go make that sell. Our job is to make sure that those 47% of Juanitians that voted Democratic in 08 show back up in 2010, so that they can go out and focus on the 3% plus 1 they need to get over the hump. Tom will probably be doing that. I mean, me, but Tom. Tom and Louise.
Who's coordinating them, Karen?
That will be Tommy and me, Tom, me, and Louise, absolutely. You know, if you go down, I mean, you know, and we are working with Steve Beeks and others in the Gwinnett Party, because we already met with them to figure out exactly which precincts we've got to print out large voter lists for and print out the maps for, because we're going to be doing that, okay? The candidates have to get us the literature. You have to give the candidates the money so they can buy the literature, because there are a few election laws left. Most of them are to disadvantage our side about money, and so they have to print out the literature. We can't pay them for the literature without we can't do it without there being some financial reporting limits. So they've got to do that. That's why you need to be giving them money, and then we will be printing up those precincts. You'll be going to that Gwinnett Democratic Party headquarters, pick up your packages instead of coming like in the past. People were coming to my office. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Certainly, I'll meet anybody anywhere in a pinch as you start in the run of the race. And the sprint that is the last 30 days, I'll meet anybody anywhere. Tom will meet anybody anywhere. Louise will, I'm sure, you know, we'll manage. But the goal is to have people going to that Gwinnett Democratic Party headquarters, picking up the precincts that they're going to be canvassing from in that headquarters, where they're actually doing the print, organizing it. In terms of taking information and getting that, and figuring out the sign-up, that's probably going to be dealing with Tom. The present print, we're going to pick it up, that's going to be at that headquarters up there. Unless you're having to arrange with me, with Louise, with Tom, with somebody to pick it up somewhere else, you know. And so that's what it's going to be about, you know. So let's go out there and
Will it be at the, will it be at Kate Spain this afternoon?
it's the same office. I think that's just a grand opening. And I do believe that they are leaving from there to do some precincts in that immediate precinct where that office is. But it's not like one day of canvassing and then we're done, and the other 52 days we just walk in SNBC and you know, we're doing work by cheering.
As far as getting the map.
That's the office that you'll be going to. But we're not just giving out maps. We're giving out maps with lists and literature with the expectation that folks are going out and knocking on those doors and delivering the literature. Any other questions? One last one.
Quick, is the open just for the whole office?
For the whole office, so it's technically it is, I guess, it is a grand opening, but the office has been open. Okay, so it's one of those, in retail, there's that soft opening when they actually open the door. And then the grand, from 4 to 6 today, and it's for the Gwinnett Democratic Party and for Pedro Marin's office specifically, correct? And so it's actually been open. I mean, you can go there now, it's open.
Well, the suite was offered to Mike MK, and I have
It's a big
twice or 3 times this many. So I'm opening
Yeah.
for the Democrats.
He's selling
We're all family, so.
When you get up there, you're going to have to ask. I will say that though, but everyone from the party chairman to Pedro and myself have day jobs. So unless you have made special arrangements, there are people there after what would be normal 9 to 5 business hours. So if you're just going to show up, you take a risk, but assume that it could be a day. But in general, someone is there after 6 o'clock. There may be someone there during the day, but I would call first because all of us have day jobs. And for party folks like Steve Deeks, the chair, or Stephanie Bethea, the vice chair, or Rob Byers, another vice chair, literally that job pays 0. It's a volunteer job. And so they have to go to their day job and come back here, work in the office. So it's basically, I would say 6 to 8 people should be there, and then make arrangements other times. Will there be someone there during the day?
We're working on it.
Okay, so we're working on it. Call. Don't just show up
Calling at least part of the day, and then in the evening for the phone banking, because I have set up a space for phone banking. I'll be buying 5 phones in this week, so we can have that access to phone banking and everything.
Tuesday, 9/18, Ironhorn Tavern fundraiser. There is a sign-up sheet for those that are wanting to volunteer. If we have not scared you off, we need you. Sign up, please, because we absolutely need you for those precincts. There are volunteer cards provided.
Volunteer cards, we do sign-up sheets for Jim and sign-up sheets for...
Okay. Anything that I missed?
I invite everyone for next month, Citizen Advisory Council. If you want to do it at the headquarters, we'll be welcome over there. We'll get coffee and everything for you guys.
We will. Sounds like an awesome idea. So I do know that next month, Citizen Advisory Forum, I hate to say it, usually try to do different things. There'll be an update of where the race stands. It's going to be sort of more of the same. Not necessarily a pitch. We will be doing a talk about, okay, these are the precincts we have canvassed. These are the precincts we need canvassers in. And so we'll be, and for whether it's here or at his office, while you don't have to, folks that we'll probably have things set up so that we can leave from Citizen Advisory Forum, those listed, that you'll be able to pick up packages and start canvassing that afternoon if you want to that Saturday. The next Citizen Advisory Forum is what day? October. Third Saturday in October. Yep, it'll be October 20th. We'll get in touch with you about the place, but it's always from 10:30 to 12 for those that can canvass afterwards. We'll be setting up canvassing literature and make sure that we're all set to go. So I hope that y'all are fired up and ready to go. One more time. October 20th. All right, thank y'all so much.